I think one of the most desirable things is to have effortless distance. Distance that doesn't make you feel like you're working too hard to achieve it. When I put those chains or those links in the chain into place, that's how I create what I would call effortless speed. All right guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about a golf swing misconception or a mislabeling of the sequence of the golf swing that I think is affecting far too many golfers out there. There are lots of old ways of describing the golf swing. A lot of the old instructors used to just say the golf swing's just 2 turns and a swish. Simple as that. We now know with technology we have, with force plates, motion capture, things like that, we know that it's not quite as simple as that. When we measure the best players in the world and we see how they produce the amount of force, the amount of power, speed that we all admire, we know it's far more than just a rotation into the backswing and a rotation into the through swing that creates that efficient power. And today we're going to break that down and explain to you guys how it can help benefit your game as well. Okay guys, let's talk about the 2 turns and a swish, or even that concept of rotation and just rotation. If it was just as simple as that we would sort of set ourselves up, nice setup, and we would just turn one way and turn the other way. You guys can see just by that movement, it's very hard to create power. It's very hard to create enough force by just turning your body. And what we know now, as I said, from the measurement of the force on force plates and things like, pressure plates, whatever it may be, whatever system you may use, we know that there are forces at play before the club is even moved. And for those of you who are interested in that in a little bit more detail than we're going to go into it today, please go back to our videos with Ryan Hawley that we done a month or so ago. And those were brilliant for breaking that part of the golf swing down, where we talk about how the force moves in the backswing, how the force moves in the downswing. But today we're going to focus in on the force that creates the right position at impact. We, as I say, see on force plates and motion capture that players who create that really nice open position, they're not just turning their body, clearing their hips, all the things that lots of golfers are challenged with doing. When we go through different TPI screens or whatever movement screen that you may go through yourself, everyone's got little sort of areas where they could maybe move better. They maybe have sort of tightness or imbalances around their body. But that doesn't mean that just because you can't get your hips as open at impact as an LPGA player, when we see their positions at impact and we can fully see the back of the left pocket at impact, they're fully cleared and their impact looks something like that. The average golfer goes, well, I just can't do that, right? And the reality is you probably can't, but you can definitely lean upon some more efficient ways to help you down the line. So let's look at inefficient movement patterns to start with. Okay, I'm going to make a couple of swings here and very much just going to turn back and turn through. Okay, pretty simple little action. I can't believe how short that's went. Pretty simple little action. How fast was that? Probably 83, 84 miles an hour, 87. Okay, so let's do that again. Okay, pretty efficient little action. Okay, so even in that swing, even although I'm really just trying to simplify the motion of just trying to turn back and turn through, I'm probably shifting my weight more than I even think. But for those who do that inefficiently, and I really want to talk to those of you who are the over-the-top golfers, the people who really struggle with creating a rightward club path, that is the inefficient sequence in the golf swing that I see the most. So players will get up to the top of the backswing, rotate while they're stuck in their back foot. Looks something like this. Okay, People who are really early rotators, they get a little bit out of sequence on the downswing, costing themselves all sorts of power. Okay, fairly centered strike, they're not too bad. Dynamic loft, 34. My 7-iron is 33 degrees of loft. I've delivered one more degree of loft. So 0 compression hard, very little compression on that one. So we definitely don't want that club working too much out to in. Look at the direction there. Yeah, 2 degrees out to in, not the most. There'll be those of you out there going, I wish I was 2 degrees out to in. I'm 12. I get that too. But let's attack this one step at a time. So let's look at how we set things up from the backswing. As we know, as we talked about last time. Okay, we are going to make sure that we get this lead shoulder nicely behind the golf ball on the backswing. We are going to do that. As we spoke about in the video with Ryan, we're not thinking about this as the top of the backswing. We're thinking about this as the top of the backswing, as in the start of our transition into the downswing, left arm or lead arm parallel to the ground. Okay, so if we can do that and start to make, at that point, a little shift back into our lead side, we're really setting ourselves up for the correct way to sequence the downswing, which is not to actually rotate, but it's actually to push. We're going to position more weight on top of that lead leg. Okay, so I'll do that face on so you guys can see it one more time. So we're going to make that really nice loaded backswing. Okay, but as we get lead arm parallel, we are going to, as the arms continue up, we are going to shift that weight more back onto the lead side. That allows us to, as we start down, we are going to push off that lead leg, and that's what creates the correct impact sequence or the correct positions at impact that will create less dynamic loft, more speed, more pressure into the golf ball. So let's work a little bit towards that. Okay, first things first, let's make sure we're making that early shift. One rehearsal. Okay, really feel like that weight goes left early. And you can see a totally different ball flight coming out of that. Much more powerful, much more driven. So what was about a 150-yard 7-iron has turned into about a 175 carry, probably went about, call it 178. Maybe we wouldn't roll out on that on a normal green, but we're starting to create some efficiency at that point. Okay, so that's just us feeling like we're just loading into that lead side a little bit earlier. Let's do that one more time. Really solid strike. I think one of the most desirable things in golf, or for any golfer, is to have effortless distance. Distance that doesn't make you feel like you're working too hard to achieve it. When I put those sort of chains or those links in the chain into place, where I'll make a loaded backswing, I'll shift earlier than I normally would. So left arm parallel, I'll shift into that lead side as my arms are going back, and then I push up. That's how I create what I would call effortless speed in my own swing. One of the best things about doing these videos, guys, is I get to remind myself of things that I would forget about, to be honest. If I'm out in the golf course and I'm maybe not hitting it too good, not striking it too good, these are the exact same things that I go back to if I'm struggling with my own game. If I start to see 7-iron going 168, 165, 170, and I forget how easily I can hit 7-iron in the air, 175, almost 180 yards, I have to go back to the exact same principles that we're talking about today. So let's talk about this lead leg a little bit, because that really, to be honest, guys, that's where I want us to get to. And in order to get, whether we look at it down the line, where we're making that early shift, and as we start down, that's what starts to give us that kind of open look. I'm not doing anything to rotate my body at that point. But if I correctly position the weight over the lead side, so I start to recenter myself. So I've loaded, I've recentered, and you can see I'm much more stacked on top of that lead side now. If I just push, almost like I'm trying to push my foot through the front of my shoe. If I was trying to push, if I was wearing, a slider right now, a flip-flop slider, and I was trying to literally push my foot out the front of that, that's the feeling that you want to have in that portion in transition where you're trying to get more force going, sort of shearing forward. So we're going to recenter, we're going to push, and that's what gets the body to open up really, really nicely. So let's start to work on that. Okay. Load the backswing, lead arm parallel. We're shifting that weight back. And as we start down, we then push that weight forward. That then starts to open up our body. A much more prominent push off the left leg there. Ball travels a comfortable 180 yards, nice centered contact, and it feels much more dynamic to me. Club head speed has jumped up there to 92 miles an hour, just about PGA Tour average with a 7-iron, which is really nice. So as we talk about compression and we talk about creating, the right amount of force, this is force through correct sequencing rather than force through brute effort and strength. And that's why you start to see players that maybe are junior golfers who can create massive amounts of force within their golf swing. It's just because they have such an elite, efficient movement pattern. And that's what I want for you guys as well. So those of you watching who go, man, I wish I could hit the ball further. This is how you're going to be able to hit the ball further, especially with your irons. Obviously, this will work too when it comes to the driver being able to sort of make a big turn, recenter, and then push off that lead leg. But one of the things that helps me the most with is creating compression. As we said, 24.7 degrees of loft at impact now. That's what's going to make a 33-degree golf club travel further. I create more efficiency by taking that 33 degrees of loft and turning it into a little bit less. We talked a little bit about don't cheat the development of your swing with game improvement golf clubs that have lofts that are too strong. If I was to apply this golf swing that I think will help you guys so much with one of the strong lofted sets of irons out there right now, I would probably be hitting a 7-iron, probably 200 yards. So if I was taking, my 33-degree lofted club and maybe the 7-iron in that set is 27 degrees, there's some 27 degrees 7-irons out there, I'm probably going to be carrying that golf ball 195 yards. Okay, not really ideal for gapping, creates big problems within the set. Do it within your mechanics. It will last you the lifetime that you play this game and be able to sort of monitor the numbers. You know how big of a proponent I am on launch monitor practice. I don't think it's how you need to practice all the time, but if you can create baselines and then just revisit your baselines just to know where you are. Are you on track? Are you off track? I think that will really help you guys with your swing. Everyone can go and get a by-the-hour appointment with a simulator place. It feels like they're every street corner these days. But being able to monitor things like your dynamic loft, your launch angle, your club path. Again, I've done nothing to try to drop the club behind me there. I just noticed that actually at the corner of my eye. Done absolutely nothing to try and change my club path. I was 2 degrees out to in. All I talked about was turn properly, recenter, and push. My club path is flipped around 5.5 degrees, and I went from 2 degrees out to in to 3.7 into out there. You shouldn't have to put the golf club in positions in the golf swing, place it in positions. The correct movement pattern and the correct sequence will do that for you. Okay, so make sure you're very sequence and movement orientated, not position orientated in the golf swing. That'll lead to more efficiencies and it'll help you play better golf on the course rather than just in the simulator. Trust me, that's coming from a guy who's made all of those mistakes on his own in the past. So I think this will help you guys too. All right, let me know your thoughts on this as a concept. Is this something you feel you really struggle with? Maybe you didn't really know that landing on the, or getting into that lead side earlier in the swing is what you should do. But we always love to hear your feedback, always love to hear your thoughts. And even better for those of you who have went to the driving range after seeing the video, and then please come back to it and let us know your thoughts. That's even better. And let everyone know how that worked for you. That would mean the world to us. All right, guys, stay tuned for more. We'll see you again soon.